Hey, come on, people. Woo! Taking a break. Moving. Hey, stocking up for the winter. And, shit, forgot to grab this video, get it out of the wind. It's about 92 out here in Texas. Slight breeze. It's not too bad when you get out of the barn. But moving this hay in this barn is, whew, kill me. So I wanted to talk about, I don't know what I'm going to call this, but can cops arrest you for something they know you're not going to get charged with? And I don't know what I'm going to call this again, but it's basically going to cover the drunken public under the influence. Now I'm going to do another video about drug recognition expert. It's a class that's put on in California, and once you get certified as a drug recognition DRE, you get expert testimony. You can kind of, arrest people basically on site by doing a few tests. And because you granted that drug recognition expert certificate after you've been through, they teach you through medical and all this other stuff. So part of being a cop is building your resume and building your expertise through experience and training. So you have experience expertise and then you have training expertise. So if I go to a class on drugs, I have formal training in that. Then I need the other half of that is to go out and actually make drug arrests, put that into action, work drugs, and then I build that. So when you're writing a search warrant, there's a thing called a hero sheet. And basically that's your experience. And basically you got to blow yourself up. So a hero sheet is, it goes through all your experience. I went through the academy. If I'm writing a search warrant for burglary, and I want to look for burglary tools or items stolen in a burglary, well, I have to justify why I think there's burglary. I'm going to find what I'm looking for in his house. So that's part of your probable cause statement. But then in my hero sheet, I have to explain why the judge, when I take this to a judge, why you should believe that I know what I'm talking about and that I'm probably going to do it. Now, search warrant is a very low. People think, oh, if you get a search warrant, well, it must be pretty good. No, a search warrant, I think the legal definition is a fair probability that you will find something on what you're looking for. So it's a fairly low standard. Most cops think it's this really high and you got to be 100% all that because they haven't done a lot of search warrants, so they haven't done any. And in the academy they tell you, oh, you get a search warrant, you need to, and the DA's got to prove it. The legal standard is a fair probability that I'm going to find something. So that's not a really high standard. So building a hero sheet, watching these videos, if you're a cop, you're receiving training from a senior or seasoned investigator who has worked these cases, and you can actually use that as your justification on why you believe this is true, why you've received training on this, why this cooperated your training, why this training, or what I'm saying, goes along with what you received in formal training, and it goes along with what you see in the field. So a typical hero sheet's going to be, I'm so-and-so, I graduated academy in this, and the academy I received 60 hours of training, 40 of which were in burglary and recognizing burglary and scheme of design of burglars, investigating burglary scenes, blah, blah. Since I've been out of the academy for the last 2 years, I've taken reports on approximately 50 burglaries. And out of those reports, I've located the suspect 10 times. And I've testified in court on 2 burglary cases that the person was convicted based on some part of my testimony, and the court recognized me as an expert in burglary because of this training, etc. So that would be a short version of a hero sheet on which the judge, when he's reviewing your warrant, he's going to read that and say, okay, this guy probably knows what he's talking about. Now, if I write a warrant and I say, I graduated academy 2 weeks ago and this is my first warrant, and I've never done a burglary case, but I think I'm going to find it, most judges are going to go, I'm not going to issue this warrant. You need to go get me an affidavit from somebody with more experience. You need to make this warrant stronger. So, and again, of course, I'm always off topic. I'm going to do a DRE video on drug recognition. I'm going to go through some of the tests. I'm going to actually stick a needle in me on a syringe, and then you'll be able to testify, or you will be able to say, even as a citizen, if you ever get called in court for something, that you saw an arm with no needle mark and what a fresh needle mark looks like, and what it looks like, 5 minutes later. Because if I arrest somebody for under the influence, I'm going to say, hey, I saw a fresh needle mark. And the defense is going to go, well, how do you know it's fresh? Have you ever seen a needle mark? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. When I was going through drug training, a guy stuck himself in the arm with a needle, and I saw it before, and I saw it afterwards, and I saw it 5 minutes later, and I saw it an hour later. So I know what a needle mark looks like. And the defense will go, shit, I guess I can't play that. But if you've never seen that, and he asks you, well, how do you know what a needle mark is? Well, I've given blood, I've had blood taken, I know what my arm looks like before blood's taken, and I know what it looks like afterwards. That would be reasonable. But the purpose of this video is, can a cop arrest you for something that you're not going to be charged with? And under the influence, which got me on the DRE, the drug recognition act, that is kind of like the catch-all. And I just had a buddy who almost went to jail for this because he's kind of like me, and the cops told him to close the beer and he couldn't, and he was like, well, why do I have to? I'm not breaking any law. And he goes, yeah, you can't have an open container anywhere in the host city of Dallas. And he's like, that doesn't sound right. And so he goes back, researches it, and finds out there's an ordinance, but the ordinance says only 100 feet from a business or something. So he was getting all technical with the cops, but I was like, dude, the cops can just say, you got an open container, you're drinking in public, I think you're under the influence, I'm going to arrest you. And he's like, well, even if I'm not even under the influence? I go, yeah, that is the catch-all for all cops. Now, people are going to be out there, I knew cops were dirty, and look, you can say it's dirty, you can say it's working in a system, you can say what it want. People always want to tell me I'm trying to justify cops. I'm just telling you the way it is. You don't have to like it. I may not necessarily like it. But I play within the rules, and in today's laws, there's no real incentive to be truthful. There's only incentive to interpret and get the words right, and what the definition of this is, and is it reasonable, and when you get all that involved, what's lying? To me, lying is withholding the truth. Withholding something that you know is a lie. To me, that's a lie. Hey, did you see what happened? If I saw what happened, I go, no. People go, well, that's not really a lie because you didn't want to get involved. It is a lie. Okay, withholding the truth is a lie. But playing within the system is somewhat survival, and there's a thing called street justice, or getting rid of the problem for right now. I've worked in agencies to where we go to loud music complaint, and be drunk people and be like, hey man, you got to turn on music, neighbors are complaining. And then we go back, and we go back. And there's not a whole bunch we can do. We might be able to write the guy who owns a disturbing the peace ticket, but it's going to have to be a citizen's arrest because we can't be the complainant. So we'd have to get a neighbor who's going to say, are you willing to sign a citizen's arrest for this? And if they say, no, I don't want to arrest my neighbor, I got to live next to him. So nobody really wants to do anything. So the problem continues. They keep calling and we keep going back. Well, I worked at some agencies that we'd go on a loud music call and it'd be like, hey guy, I'm just telling you right now, if we come back, we're seizing your cereal as evidence of a crime, and we're going to send it to the DA and let them see if they want to charge. Now, we know the DA ain't going to charge. We know it's not going anywhere, and we know unless a citizen makes a complaint, the DA is going to say, you can't be the complainant on a disturbing of peace because you're a peace officer, so I'm going to dismiss the case. Okay, dismiss the case. The stereo still gets snagged. They still got to go to the PD. They got to wait for their stereo till the case is solved, till it's dismissed. Then they got to go get the PD. The PD may stick on a fee for storage, and it's a big inconvenience. And people will be like, well, that's unconstitutional, and that's bootleg, and that. Dude, I'm just telling you how it is. It solves the problem. The neighbors are happy. The rude people who are doing their radio saying, screw everybody, exercising their free speech, imposing on everybody else, the problem is solved. And that was one way that this agency was like, hey, I ain't playing around. If you keep making us come back here, we got better things to do than come down here and tell you to turn down your music. When we come back, you're losing your stereo. And we would take it. And it was legal. Now, could somebody sue under the Constitution and say that's wrong? Look, what you know and what you can prove is something different. All the cop's going to say is, hey, I had a reasonable belief that that stereo was causing this crime of disturbing the peace. It was involved in the crime. It was connected to the crime. I can show a nexus to the crime. Therefore, I seized it as evidence. Because I don't want to go to court if this goes to court and they go, well, what kind of stereo was it? You know what? Here it is. I took it as evidence. You can see. We can turn it up right now for the jury and let them hear the music on how loud it was. So, is it legal? Yeah. Is it within the kind of the right on what you should do? No, it's not. I mean, we shouldn't be seizing evidence that we shouldn't. Should cops be arresting people for what they know is not going to be charged? Happens all the time. We had a DA in Sacramento, when she took over, she was like, look, she sent out a memo to all the police agencies. You guys keep arresting people for marijuana, and we keep dismissing it. So I'm telling you right now, if you arrest them, you need to know that we're going to dismiss it. So what changed? She can't tell the cops not to arrest because it's a violation. So what she did in a roundabout way, in her liberal kind of pushing her agenda, she wants marijuana legalized, is saying, I don't care if you arrest them, but I ain't prosecuting it. So you're wasting your time and you're wasting my time. Now some of the chiefs and the PDs who agree with her be like, yo man, don't be wasting your time out there arresting people for this. They can't tell you not to because it's against the law. Kind of like the same thing is going on with immigration. You come across the border, it's an arrestable offense. First time it's a misdemeanor, second time it's a felony. And they don't do nothing because everybody looks the other way. It's a violation. And to me, that's what makes the whole system break down. When laws apply to some, they don't apply to all. They don't apply to Congress. They don't apply to the president. They don't. And now, you know what? If they don't apply to everybody, then they don't apply to anybody. So, can a cop do it? Sure. And the most one that cops use, if they smell alcohol on your breath and you give them an attitude, you cause any problems, you question them, 99% of the time the cop's going to go, you know what? You're being argumentative, you're not being reasonable, I smell alcohol on your breath, I think you're under the influence. Turn around, put your hands on your back, you're going to jail. And the guy's like, man, you can't do that, I've only had one sip of one beer, there's no way I'm under the influence. You know what? It's on you to prove it. You're going to go to jail, the problem's going to be solved, you're going to have to pay a bail, you're going to have to sign a promise to release, you're going to have to go through the booking process, your prints are going to be in the system, and you're going to have an arrest record. Now, is all that worth it to say, you know what, cops can't do that? It's not. You know, and the other thing that cops do a lot of times is if two people are fighting and they both want to call the cops and they're always fighting and they always get back together, cops will be like, you know what, if I arrest one of you, I'm arresting both of you. Do I need to be here? Because if you want me here, I'll stay here and I'll arrest you both for assault. But if you don't want me here, I'll leave. What do you want? And if one guy pushes it and says, I want him arrested, I don't care. Great, you both go to bail. You both go to jail and you both got to post bail and you both get screwed. Now, is that wrong? Should cops be out there playing jury and investigating a whole case, hearing a story for 2 hours on who did what and me bringing you this proof and I got this letter signed and he sent me this email and it's his fault and No, cops ain't going to figure it out. So it's easier to go, both of you go to jail or nobody goes to jail, I'm leaving. If you want to sue him in civil court, knock yourself out. If you want to file charges yourself with the DA, knock yourself out. But either you're going to tell me you want me here and you want me to arrest him, and if I arrest him, I'm arresting you. Now, again, everybody's going to be all pissed off and shoot the messenger. Look, people, I'm just telling you, I'm trying to educate you on how the system works. Because it's easier to work within the system and understand it than to get screwed and go, wow, man, I didn't know they could do that, and I'm shocked, and I can't believe I'm in jail, and having remorse, buyer's remorse that, damn, I should have kept my mouth shut and then I wouldn't have a record now and have to declare on applications and have to tell everybody I was arrested. And when somebody runs my background, they see that I was arrested. Doesn't matter. People think that because you don't get charged and you're not convicted, it doesn't matter. It does matter. When you have an arrest record and you have arrests, disorderly conduct, interfering with the police, interfering or obstructing investigation, and they're all dismissed for lack of evidence, dismissed for the interest of justice, not charged by the DA's office. Doesn't matter. It still shows that you've been arrested 3 times. Now people are going to judge you on that. Rick, they can't judge you. That's not fair. The liberals tell us that we have to be fair and the world's equal. Look, you're going to be judged for having 3 arrests for being uncooperative or arguing with the police. People are going to judge you on that. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you think the Constitution protects you from being judged by anybody. That's the way it is. So, do cops do this? Absolutely. Is it the catch-all? Absolutely. I can't tell you the number of times we've been at a house, a guy's inside his house drinking, being a complete jerk, screw you, get the hell off my property, you ain't shit, you ain't got nothing to arrest me, I ain't done shit, I'm in my house, fuck you. And they're doing all this shit. And it works every time. The cop goes, you know what? If you say that inside the house, you won't step out here and say it. And you give them a little room, and man, it draws them out like you got them on a string pulling them. I can step out on my porch! And as soon as they step outside, they're in a public place. Guess what? You're under arrest for being in a public place under the influence. Rick, you can't, you're a bootleg, you're the worst cop. I mean, some of these comments I'm getting from these weirdos coming out here just blaming me for the entire system because I'm out here trying to educate you and give you real life talk on what happens and how things work in the criminal justice system, and you want to shoot the messenger and get mad at me. Well, whatever. Okay, I know I was a good cop. I know that if I lived in a neighborhood, I'd want somebody like me patrolling the streets and being a cop in that area. Because I'm not going to mess with you. I'm not going to mess with good, decent people. I'm staying out of your business. And unless you make me come in your business or you're out there doing crime and being a piece of shit, you're not going to have to worry about me. I'm going to be the best guy in your neighborhood. You're going to like having me around. You're going to like me serving your community. I know that's the kind of cop I was. But, you know, people come here and want to view this video and hear my crazy cop stories about some of the things that I witnessed, and I didn't turn them in, and all of a sudden I'm a bad guy. Whatever. The people who get it will understand. Look, if you've been drinking, you don't want to be in a public place and start arguing and pissing off a cop, because they are going to arrest you knowing full well that the DA is probably going to dismiss it, but it doesn't matter. Now, should there be some repercussions for that? I think there should. Okay, there's a thing to where cops' records are kind of sealed, and you can't tell how many complaints a cop has. Now, is that good or bad? Well, it's both, because there's a lot of people that complain on every cop just to build him his record because he's out there doing his job. So every gangbanger he contacted, I mean, I had all kind of crazy-ass wanted felon parolees trying to make complaints on me all the time because I was stopping them, I was searching them, I was finding drugs, I was arresting their friends, neighbors, cousins, uncles, and brothers, and they're like, dude, man, this cop, we got to get rid of him, so let's everybody, every time he contacts you, just call and make a complaint. And then pretty soon they'll tell him to stop messing with us. Well, they did, because, I mean, people knew who I was, and I usually had witnesses, and I was doing the right thing, so they didn't have a leg to stand on. But still, in some PDs, if you get a couple complaints, they'll say, yo, man, you need to chill out. You need to do this, or you're getting too many complaints. You're tying up the sergeant too much to investigate these complaints. I mean, one PD I worked with, they don't give a shit about complaints. Be like, you call somebody, who cares? The sergeant will be like, I'll go brief the sergeant, yo, man, this guy's going to call and complain. Blah, blah, he did this and shit, and I snagged his ass, threw him on the ground, handcuffed him. He's pissed off because I let him go. So he's going to be calling a complaint. The sergeant goes, I don't give a shit. So he calls, the sergeant goes, well, yeah, did he do that? Yeah, okay, well, okay, I'll look into it. Thanks for the call. Click. Done deal. Some sergeant that doesn't necessarily like you or something can go, oh, really? Will you sign a formal complaint? Here, there's one agency that records people when they want to call in a complaint. The agency has to bring them and deliver them a complaint form so they can file it. Is that going overboard? Sure, they encourage complaints. It makes it easier for them to complain. And if you make something too easy, people are going to abuse it. So, you know, the old law of vagrancy used to be around. Most people probably don't remember this, but it used to be you used to have a certain amount of money in your pocket or ID, and if you didn't, you were arrested for vagrancy. And people, you know, over the time, the courts ruled that's a little, because cops abused it. If they contacted anybody and you didn't have money and you gave them any attitude, you went to jail for vagrancy. Cops abuse it. Cops abuse under the influence of alcohol in public. They abuse it. There's no doubt. There's thousands of arrests across the country for that shit that are always dismissed. Should it stop? Sure. Should they not be allowed to do that? Yeah. But most people who kind of know cops do it, they're kind of like, you know what's an instant means? What else are they going to do? They're going to keep coming back 20 times during the night to listen to this? They're going to sit there and argue with a guy about, I got constitutional rights and I know my rights, and according to the Constitution, you can't touch, and just want to tie up an officer when he could be out there, you know, eating a donut or doing something else that's important. But instead, you know, people don't want cops doing this. So, is it right or wrong? Hey, you be the choice. I've got my opinion. Have I ever done it? Sure, I've probably done it once or twice. I can't remember a specific time, but I'm sure there's at least one or two times that I've probably done it. So that's, can't cops arrest you even though you're not they know you're not going to be charged? Absolutely, they can, and they do it all the time, and there's no repercussions from it. All right, we'll end that there.